Well, Texas lawmakers passed a new law abolishing sanctuary cities in their state. As far as prohibitions go, it's pretty mild. The bill does not compel police to enforce immigration law. Instead, it just threatens city leaders with fines if they categorically refuse to cooperate with ICE or ban their police from asking about immigration status, but individual cops can use their own conscience under the law. The ACLU, though, is furious, and it is suing to block the law from taking effect. Lee Gellert is a lawyer for the American Civil Liberties Union, and he joins us tonight. Lee, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
This seems, as I just said, a pretty mild anti-immigration statute that allows individual cops to opt out if they so choose. So how is this a step along the road to a police state?
Yeah, well, I think, I said probably immigration police state, not a police state, but I actually thought that you would be with us on this case. And the reason is, let me just explain how the law works. It requires local police, local sheriffs to enforce immigration law. And even more than that, a police chief can go to jail if he makes a mistake. And so it's going to lead to profiling, it's going to lead to mistakes, it's going to lead to cities being sued. But let me just talk about what I think you probably are most concerned about.
I think you're factually inaccurate, though. I don't think that it requires, at least I have it right here, it doesn't seem to require police chiefs to enforce immigration law. It just says that they can't categorically opt out, and they can't blanketly prohibit their officers from asking about immigration status. But it doesn't say they have to affirmatively go enforce the law.
Right. Well, I think we read the law as saying that line officers do, and I think that's one of the things the judge will decide soon. We had a hearing, and Texas is saying no, we think it does because it requires entities to enforce the law, and entities includes employees, which includes everyone. But even if you're right about that, let's talk about a small city with 5 deputies. 2 go out and enforce immigration law, 3 don't. And so depending on what street you are in that town, someone's asking about immigration status or not. And let me just talk about, I think, what you are most concerned with, which is public safety. Can I just make that point, or did you?
Yeah, no, but let me just say, I mean,
Okay.
you're going to say that it's going to make the cities less safe because people won't report crimes. And I've done this segment a million times. This law actually has a carve-out for that and a protection for whistleblowers or people who report crimes, that they can't be prosecuted once they do that. But what bothers me is you don't like immigration law, you want open borders, or you think we should have less stringent qualifications for citizenship. That's all fine. We have a legislative process to affect that. You can change the law. What bothers me is encouraging people to ignore existing law rather than changing the law itself. Why don't you spend your time doing that?
Right. Well, so first of all, the ACLU has never called for open borders, but let's put that aside for a second. It's not me who's saying it's going to make cities and counties less safe. It's the police chief. So I have an op-ed here from all the major police chiefs in Texas, right? And those are not people who vote ACLU down the line. It's San Antonio, it's Houston, it's Dallas. It's not the ACLU who has sued. It's all of those cities have sued, and they're all saying it's going to make them less safe. So, I mean, right, you can disagree with them.
If cops said, wait, no, because police departments say, look, we need to racially profile in order to keep our cities safe. And the ACLU is the first in there with a lawsuit. Look, don't tell me that you're just doing this because you're on the side of cops. That's just silly. They have their own agenda, but cops don't get to make the laws. They enforce the laws. They're not lawmakers. They're civil servants.
What they're saying is they're the experts on the ground, and they are the ones who are saying it's going to make our cities less safe. They are saying it's just politicians going for sound bites. The major police chiefs are all against this law from a public safety standpoint. I'm not saying we're suing only because of them, but we happen to be representing sheriffs and mayors in this suit. But they are the ones coming. I mean,
they
you can
don't
disagree.
have a say in this. No, they don't have a say in this. They don't get to make the laws. And by the way, if you're concerned about a police state, then the last arrangement you'd want is cops deciding what the rules of the state are. They carry out the law as passed by the people's representatives.
But you know very well.
Remember, I thought you guys were against dictatorships.
Oh, but you know very well that they are going to carry out the laws, but they are using the courts and saying, we think this law is unlawful. We're going to be sued because of this. We're not provided with training. We're not provided with costs. So they're asking a court to decide. If the court decides against them, of course they'll carry out the laws.
Okay, but here's the look. They are charged with carrying out the laws, not with making them. And if they don't feel morally capable of doing that, they can go join the fire department. That's the way our system works. Same with the military, same with all civil service. So the question is, why would you attack a municipality for enforcing a federal law? If a murderer was loose in Austin, Texas, would you be against the local police capturing him because he violated federal law in another state? I mean, I don't understand.
But I mean, right? You're not being responsive. No one is saying that, and they do with serious criminals turn them over to immigration, but they don't want to be out there asking every car for their immigration status. They don't want to be doing that type of thing. They don't want to be investigating when they don't have to, especially because they're not getting the costs and the training. And so that's not what we're talking about.
So is that the new legal standard that cops just kind of get to do what they feel like doing, and anything they don't want to do is unconstitutional? Is that your position? I don't understand.
You know that's not our position.
Exactly.
These cities have gone to court to challenge the law. If they lose, they will enforce the law. But what they are telling you, and they are the experts, that it is going to make the cities less safe. They are the ones saying it. Dallas, Houston, El Paso, San Antonio. They have all come forward to say this is not a good idea for Texas from a public safety standpoint.
Okay. Well, we can have that debate, but they don't get to decide. Voters get to decide, and they have. That's my view. Lee, thanks a lot for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
One outraged transgender activist has a harsh message for straight men. We've got that next. It could be the future. Stay tuned.